Thanks very much. Thanks, Hugh. In some ways, it's difficult to draw together such a wide-ranging discussion, and then in other ways, it's not so difficult because you had a real sense of shared energy and shared analysis and shared desire for something like this and for something like this to work. And so hopefully I can capture that in some of the conclusions and capture, I think, hopefully the desire that we do need to move forward from today, and we do need to move forward in chaos, in fluidity, and in an organised way, all at the one time. So we keep everybody happy, and that's what it's all about. We started off the morning, I think, and kept the thread during the day with three sort of key starting points. Hugh set out that we're here because society is very unequal. Siobhan talked about the concerns that we have in terms of the relationship between the community sector and the state. And Siobhan also identified that recession can be a turning point, and can we shape that turning point. We then looked at what I think was a hugely powerful presentation from Richard Wilkinson in terms of how our ambition for a more equal society is now immeasurably strengthened by the case that has been made by the research done by Richard and Kate Pickett. Responding to what Jack said, we've got to show that this proposition of a more equal society works. And I think we have that evidence in terms of health and social problems occur less frequently in more equal societies. Inequality seems to make countries socially dysfunctional. And most importantly, almost everyone benefits from equality. Mary Murphy then, on behalf of the Ysfeidilin group, put forward our attempt, I suppose, to articulate and imagine a different future for Ireland. A future built on what type of society we want to build, and what sort of social relations that needs to be built on, and what sort of economy that needs. And set out, I think, four key values for our starting point. The values of equality, participation, balance, and global solidarity. And that this new society can be achieved through redistribution of resources to groups experiencing inequality and poverty, through recognition of the diversity of groups experiencing inequality, and through the shared exercise of influence across society. It's a manifesto that Mary identified isn't finished, not a finished product, nor might it ever be a finished product. But it is one attempt to meet the challenge of imagining a different way of doing things, imagining a different way of organising our society. And in retaining fluidity then, in retaining chaos and in being organised, there are a number of steps that we can take, and that we can take as the Ysfeidilin grouping, but most importantly we can take as the huge range of organisations that are here today and who have already made offers to engage with this process. And Siobhan talked about the importance of communication, cooperation and collective action. And Ona reminded us that we as us, and I'm not very sure what you meant by that, but I think it's about everybody in the room playing a key role. And I think Ona's point is crucial if we are to move forward, that it's about everybody here in this room moving forward, all of the organisations in this room moving forward, in our different ways, but as coherently as possible with a shared vision. So the first step, I think, in moving forward is about building and communicating this vision for a more equal, just and inclusive society. We do need to further develop the manifesto, and we can do that by taking on board the points that people have made, both in the open mic session, but also at the tables, and we will be preparing a report, as Hugh said. We do need to deepen the thinking behind each of the policy objectives to make them more concrete in terms of how they are to be achieved and how they are to be advanced. We need to stimulate further dialogue, both in the community sector and across all sectors, on alternative models. And most importantly, I think, as Mary said, we need to take our place in the battle of ideas. That equality is not up there as a core value for our Irish society. Economic competitiveness is, and because of that imbalance, I think we're seeing significant hardship across society. But we need to engage in that battle of ideas in lots of different ways, and people have mentioned IT-based or web-based initiatives in that regard, and we do want to hear from other people who have developed those sorts of communication systems and those ways of reaching out to wider audiences with this vision. Secondly, we need to, Alba talked about a feedback mechanism, and in many ways today is a feedback mechanism, but we need to go further if we are to achieve a shared vision. And I know in a lot of the conversations in Ysfeidilin, we were very conscious of linkages that can often be very weak between national advocacy and local action on equality and diversity and inclusion issues. And I suppose we are concerned to build a momentum behind an ownership of this policy framework at national and local level. So we do need to move this manifesto and this debate into the local level to see to what extent does it reflect local realities and local struggles, to see how we can further develop the content of the manifesto to better reflect those struggles and realities. And then I think, as Mary said, most importantly in terms of can we achieve through that process a collective analysis that will make new sense of local work and local struggles, and that will give new shape and shared direction to local work and local struggles. So we are interested in hearing from people who would be interested in organising a county-based meeting or a city-based meeting to explore this manifesto, to explore how it matches local realities, to explore what it can offer local struggles as well. Equally, as Mary Ann Siobhan said, we're conscious that there are other similar or linked initiatives across the community sector about imagining and pursuing and achieving a different and more equal Ireland. And we want to make links with those initiatives. We want to enhance the alignment of thinking across those different issues. So we do achieve a coherence of vision in moving forward and therefore build a collective strength. Finally, I think, and crucially in terms of moving towards collective action and achieving progress in relation to this sort of vision, we do need to look beyond the community sector, and we do need, as is reflected I think in the participation today, to look at civil society and to look at all of our different roles and positions within civil society, and to see if civil society and that part of civil society that is committed to an inclusive, equal and sustainable Ireland, if that part of civil society can actually change and be part of changing the balance of forces in Irish society, as Jack O'Connor referred to. To achieve that, we do need to build new relationships across civil society, and in the open mic session I think some people identified that and also I think offered the possibility of that. We do need to develop our shared agendas for equality, inclusion and sustainability. We do need to find a shared language to progress those agendas, shared approach, and I think most importantly shared spaces, because we do need, I believe, to build a new and more permanent space, some form of hub for the advancement of this alternative, just, equal, inclusive, sustainable Ireland. A forum for civil society, a forum where all of civil society who shares those beliefs and those values can talk, dialogue and share ideas, but most importantly can begin to act together and shift that balance of forces. And that is about the community sector, it is about academia, it is about trade unions, it's about churches, it's about political parties, it's about the development sector, it's about the environmental sector. And those from those different parts of civil society and others that I haven't named who share that vision for greater equality, greater inclusion and a more sustainable model of development. It was referred to earlier that in some ways this is a long-term project, and certainly there can be no doubt that achieving the implementation of the manifesto that was set out today is a long-term project. But there is an urgency to advance it more immediately, that it can't be just left as something for the distant future. There's an urgency because the crisis is deepening, because the opportunity that is currently offered by crisis begins to wane and disappear, and the opposition firms up. And I think, indeed, as a possible general election looms as a moment of key change. To what extent can we alter the balance of forces? Can we achieve a new balance of forces so that this type of agenda can begin to advance, even if it's not fully implemented? So in terms of is Féidir Linn, it is committed, I think, to building on today. It's committed to retaining its fluidity. We will produce a seminar report. We're very keen to engage in those local events, whether at county level or at city level. We want to meet at national level with other sectors from civil society in terms of building that wider alliance. And hopefully we can reconvene in the not too distant future, look at a more developed manifesto and celebrate the emergence of a new, maybe more permanent space for civil society, promoting equality, inclusion, justice and a sustainable Ireland. Thanks very much. And yeah, I just forgot all the notes I was given. Yeah, no, so if people want to make contact with us, I suppose the contact address we've put on the manifesto is the community platform and Anne Costello at the community platform. And I just want to start by acknowledging Anne Costello and the work she did in organising today, because it was almost single-handed. I want to thank the people from MRCI, from Pavey Point, and from the Donegal Community Workers Cooperative for assisting with the organisation and registration of today's event as well. And I also, I also thank Sarah Burke, who helped with the copy editing of the manifesto and certainly made it more readable than we had hoped. And finally then, just to thank two people that have, I think, been very key to Isfeidilin working. One is Mary Murphy, who chaired the meetings and who drove the drafting of the manifesto. And the other is Frances Byrne, who, in the most pressing circumstances, served as a hub for Isfeidilin and actually made it work and built the trust that enabled today and the manifesto. So thanks to them.